Hi folks, and welcome to our pre-World Athletics Championships discussion feature on Track Eugene 2022, powered by the Jamaica National Group. My name is Kevin Clark, and I'll be hosting today's discussion, which features two of the best track and field minds this side of the planet. We're happy to have with us Leighton Levy, sports analyst at Sportsmax, as well as track and field insider and media practitioner Trishana McGowan, both of whom are former athletes themselves. Now, of course, the World Athletics Championships gets underway on July 15 at the iconic Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, the spiritual home of American track and field and one of the most storied venues in the world of athletics. Jamaica's finest will match strides and jumps and throws with the best from across the world. And as always, we are already seeing gold with high expectations for a team that includes some of history's finest performers, paired with the planet's most exciting talent across a wide range of events. All right, big breath. So I hope I played it all up enough for you guys. So let's start here, and I'm going to start with Trishana. How much are you two looking forward to Eugene 2022?
I mean, it's track and field. I look forward to it every time, even if there's a prep school meet happening. Based on our prowess, Jamaica's prowess, it's exciting. It's inviting as well, even just to the regular person that's not following it closely. So I'm looking forward to the event. I've dubbed it Jamaica versus the world. Usually they say like US versus the world. Nah, it's Jamaica versus the world. Our powerhouse in the track, and we have a number of athletes doing well in the field events. So I'm excited about our possibilities and on our chances of coming home with maybe more than 4 or 5 medals. I can see that happening for us.
That sounds hopeful. Leighton?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for me as well, primarily because, historically, Jamaica has always put all of its eggs in the basket of the men. From Herb McKinley, Arthur Witt, George Roden coming through to Donald Corey. But what we've seen in this last generation here is a crop of women who are doing things that we've never seen before. And I think when you look at what we've assembled for Eugene, I think Jamaica is poised to create even more history. And for that, I'm very excited. When you look at the prospects of the possibility of another Jamaican sweep in the 100 meters, for example, and the very distinct possibility that we could see something that we've never seen before, women's sprints. The top 3 finishers not only being from Jamaica, but running times that we've never seen in a final in, well, forever. Possibly yeah. 2 10.5s and a 10.6 or 2 10.6s and a 10.5. That's the kind of things that gets me going in terms of what we're looking forward to this year. And it makes me really excited to see what unfolds.
Yeah, so, and we'll get a lot more direct as we go along, but in terms of expectations, where are you guys, where do you think Jamaica will enjoy most success at this championship?
I think Leighton said it best in terms of the women doing extremely well. And the women are doing so well, not just in the 100 meters flat, but even the 100 meter hurdles. It's exciting. We have women who, can, all being well, can get a gold medal, all being well, on our side. We have women who can look to make the finals in the 400 meters flat and get on the podium. So I think all around, not counting out the men, the men will be exciting in their own way. But like Leighton said, how the women are competing, the times are really spectacular, but the competitiveness in what they're providing in track and field, you don't see this often. And we are getting the opportunity to witness it firsthand, whether on TV or being there in Eugene.
And just to add to that, when you look at, for example, an event that we are not likely to medal in the 400 meter hurdles for women, for example.
Yeah.
But Jamaica has 3 of the top 8 fastest women in the world this year. And I know we tend to gravitate towards medals on the podium, But when you have, what people tend to overlook is when you get to a global final, you don't come last. You're in the top 8 of the world or the top 9 in the world. That's something significant that we tend to overlook because we've taken a lot for granted over the past 70 years where we think that only medals count. But when you're among the best in the world, it counts for a lot because these ladies and these gentlemen as well put in a lot of hard work to get to becoming the best in the world. And for a nation our size, putting potentially 3 women in a 400-meter hurdles final in an era when Sidney McLaughlin has taken it to a brand new level is significant in his accomplishment in that, just in that respect alone. And I think there's so much excitement and there's so much value to that that we tend to overlook.
All right. So a lot has been said about Eugene. We're starting at the beginning about it being hosted, the World Championships being hosted there. We have read about visa issues from many teams, logistical challenges due to the size of the host city, and other problems. Was World Athletics correct in taking its premier event to Eugene, Oregon?
I think there are 2 sides to that. I think what we see happening now, I think the organizers have some responsibility for that with the visa issues. Because you know that the world is coming here. The best athletes in the world are coming here from all over the world to compete against the very best. You don't want to deny them that opportunity because it might be the only opportunity that these athletes have. So these visa issues are for me, an embarrassment from the side of the hosts, but you also have to pay attention to the respective countries that the athletes are coming from. You know the athletes likely to make your team. You know the athletes that are, it's not a secret that the World Championships are going to be held in the United States this year. So the necessary preparation should have been made to at least, get ahead of the curve and say, okay, these are the likely guys to make the team. Let's approach the US Embassy and try to expedite the process of visas. In the event that these athletes do make it, then there shouldn't be a problem. So I think there's blame to be cast on both sides, but I think from an American perspective, I think we've seen track and field fall further down the pecking order in terms of sports in the United States, and I think it's being reflected now in not just the visa issues, but also the idea that we've hardly seen in the marketing of the World Championships on American media, which for me is a slap in the face of World Athletics. And I think from that perspective, maybe World Athletics should have thought of going somewhere that's more track and field centric in terms of the marketing and the public relations around the sport and the accessibility of the athletes to get to competition.
So a larger city, a friendlier city too.
Yeah, a friendlier environment. I probably think maybe it should have been held in South America. I don't know. The thing is, right now, it's not a good look, coming out of the United States, a country that's supposed to be a world leader in all of these different sports and organizations and management and how they do things. And what we're seeing here is, it's kind of embarrassing.
I mean, I'm not totally surprised. The United States are big on track and field only when the Olympic Games. Just that sometimes people are not paying close attention, and I think maybe World Athletics including, because whenever it's the Olympic Games, their marketing, their promotion, it runs constantly, and that's throughout everything. So I don't think it's a case where they don't know how to market the event coming to America. They just do not place emphasis on the World Championships coming to America. Had this been the Olympic Games being held in United States, it would have been an entirely different conversation. So I think World Athletics maybe should have said, okay, you have gotten the World Championships. If you're paying attention, it's your job to pay attention to what is yours. Track and field is World Athletics' baby. You pay attention to it. You say, this is what I'm going to require of you, like what you would have done if it is the Olympic Games, because they're capable of doing it. So I think that that's where I would blame World Athletics for not ensuring and saying or demanding, this is what I want from you, know that you have gotten it because you're capable of doing it. We have seen it with the Olympic Games over and over and over. Now, I like Eugene. I think that there's no better place to host the event, maybe other than maybe Los Angeles or one of those where people are very accessible to. Eugene, I think, carries some of the best crowd in terms of track and field, and maybe that's why they got it. But it will be a hard stadium to fill. It will be a hard stadium to get the capacity. And a lot of it, I've had people on social media saying to me, I wanted to go, but the expense of getting there, among other things, keeping me from going. So like I said, I like the venue because we have watched the Prefontaine Classic there. The athletes look forward to going there.
And it's a beautiful venue.
It is. I just think that for a world championship, like I said, maybe more thought could have gone into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing most people agree on is that the USA hosting this event presents a unique opportunity for Jamaican athletes and others to potentially grow in terms of marketability and brand value. What are your thoughts on that?
You want to know?
Again, it's coming back to, it is the perfect platform. Let me say that. In terms of it being in America, you being able to sell yourself. But how many of our track and field athletes worldwide, including even Jamaicans, let us stick to who we know, are able to sell themselves? And I'm going to choose my words carefully. The Americans thrive on different things than us as Jamaicans or the Caribbean people. And that's why the Americans love Sha'Carri Richardson, and Jamaicans, or some Americans, like her behavior, some doesn't. Some Jamaicans think that she might be good for the sport, while majority think that, who are you? You have never won anything. So it comes back to what you're able to sell, or what a marketer in a company overseas will be looking for in terms of your personality. Yeah. One of our things in the Caribbean is we think that our prowess is enough to get us endorsements. It's not. It's really not. And, it's just the reality of what it is. Also, we think a shoe company signing an athlete is enough. It's not enough. LeBron James is not a billionaire because of Nike. Right. He's a billionaire because of all other assets of things that he brings to the table. People talk about him. Yeah. Steph Curry, people talk about him. Yes, he's good, but there are other aspects. They put themselves out there. A lot of our Caribbean athletes are not used to putting themselves out there because of the culture. So like I said, it's maybe what they will sell, or how they sell themselves in terms of being at that line. Had it been Usain Bolt, and you asked me this question, had Usain Bolt been competing? Oh my God, like they would eat him up. His charisma like boom off your fist, yo wagwan. His charisma is desirable, it's tasteful. Yeah. So like I said, it's a perfect market, but it's just maybe what they'll be looking for, and can our athletes or others sell themselves in that sense.
Yeah, you see, personalism is a huge part of sport, huh? Yeah. And especially in today's dynamic with social media, captivating larger audiences than traditional media. The thing is, though, when you go to a place like the United States where track and field is not, it's barely discussed on your sports shows. It's barely discussed in any format, on any show for that matter. When you look at the four major sports, hockey, baseball, American
NBA.
football, and basketball. Track and field falls way down on the pecking order there. So when you're looking at marketing yourself in the United States, it's not necessarily the best environment or best platform, because the cameras are going to focus on the winners. And yes, there are going to be little opportunities for you to sell yourself. But as Trishana just said, one of the weaknesses of a lot of Jamaican athletes, there are a few exceptions, they don't necessarily position themselves to take advantage of these opportunities. Culturally, we believe that we have to be humble and we have to be quiet and in the corner. That's not how you sell yourself. That's not how you benefit from your skill sets. And unfortunately, only a few of our athletes are able to understand that dynamic and take advantage of it, because I can guarantee you, if any of our women or any of our men beyond Shelley and Fraser Price, for example, who I think is probably the best at it since Usain Bolt, they're going to literally shy away from the cameras. They're not going to position themselves to be interesting, to be who the world wants to see. Jamaica is very,
they don't talk. They don't talk.
Jamaica is huge.
Right?
They could piggyback on that.
Right.
But they don't, because they then, it's like they don't believe that they deserve.
And humility is a premium for the Jamaican audience.
And humility, look,
it is
nice to be humble.
But if you
know you're good, you're good. There is no apology for being good.
Yeah.
And we have
And
some of the best in the world.
we because of our culture, if an athlete behaves a certain way, we've heard it from Jamaicans with Usain Bolt. We have heard it. Let's not kid ourselves. When he acted a particular way, people spoke about it. Some were discussed, oh, him too this, him too that, and many drifted towards other athletes and said, look how him go on, you know. But just be yourself.
Just and
Be yourself.
Not just be yourself, but open up a little bit. And not saying you must tell everybody
Your business.
every element of your business, but
Share some of you.
People what you are.
Yes.
Because when you talk to some of these athletes privately, they're very interesting people, you know. Very interesting people. But when
They're
they
fun.
go, you put a camera in their face or a microphone in front of them and
And you know why? 2020, I was doing a story about mental health with our athletes. And when I wanted to do the story, I was like, no, they won't say anything. I made the calls.
Yeah.
I asked about it.
Yeah, but no, I speak.
And I got so many stories. I was like, okay, yo, I'm coming to your training. I want to talk to you about it. No. You want Jamaican people when me not do good? Them say, oh, me stress out, I'm mad and me weak mentally.
Yeah, it's serious.
When I did the story, because I'm not going to not do the story, I took it from a different angle. I interviewed Bridget Foster Hilton, Olympian. I interviewed netballer Nicole Aiken-Pinnock. And I had Andre Blake, captain of the Reggae Boys team. He spoke from a perspective of a team. Mm-hmm. And they all had the same thing to say. You know, the fear of the words being echoed. And they're athletes, but they're humans. They have feelings. So, like I said, I know some want to share, but because of the rest of the backlash, the fear of backlash, they're like, you know what, let me keep this to myself and to my circle.
Yeah, because it's, and Trishan is very right about that. When you look at the comments, I have had a lot of discussion with practitioners like Trishan and others, where you hear the things that people say.
Yeah.
Generally, I think a lot of athletes see the Jamaican public, the supposed sports-loving public, as being caustic because they see the athletes only as entertainment and not as people who have feelings, who have emotions, and don't understand how their reaction impacts the athletes. I've spoken to many athletes who literally fear failure because of the
backlash from our people. And I mean, we're not saying you can't be critical.
Yeah.
Because I believe like my line of work, Leighton's line of work, the athlete's line of work, entertainers, you have to take criticism.
Right. Just built into the
exactly. I draw the line when you start to belittle me. Right. Immediately I'm not hearing anything. But I think everyone is open to constructive criticism. As an athlete, you get criticism every day because you go training and you get the black start, you go to trap meet, and you do the wrong thing. Like, what you come at training for? So it's not a case where they can't handle being criticized because it's a part of their job. But when you bash them, there's a difference.
The condescending nature of some of the criticism is unwarranted because there are so many stories that the athletes should truly come out and tell you what they endure on the pathway to success. Yeah. You would be stunned at some of the stories and some of the things that they've had to overcome, the injuries that they've endured. I mean, just Johan Blake, take Johan Blake's story for example. For the last 10 years I've been hearing why Johan Blake should retire. When Johan Blake tore his hamstring in Glasgow in 2014, many people don't understand the severity of that injury that ended many careers before that. The fact that he's still competing today is testament to his character and his will and his unyielding nature. Because the reality is this: the muscle tore completely off the bone. They had to trim the muscle, pin it back to the bone, which takes years to get back to the strength that it was. And then after that, to overcome the mental side of it, because when you hurt yourself badly enough, you don't trust your body anymore
to go fast or react.
That took you to those levels of performance. So to get over that mental hurdle is even more difficult than the physical hurdles. So what a lot of people don't understand is that those stories are not being told because the athletes don't want to tell those stories. Yes, but also the understanding of the general public of why is it that look, I'm not saying that athletes should not be criticized, but there has to be some basis to the criticism, not just your emotion about why the athlete failed to perform and meet your expectations. And that's one of the things that I think our general public in this country needs to do a better job of understanding. Because you see, every fan of the sport, understand why certain things happen the way they do and just not be critical just because you can sit behind a keyboard and say mean things about something.
Yeah. And even when we tell them, they're still going to do it.
And they still don't care.
They don't. Long and short of it.
All right. So if you're just joining us, this is our discussion feature on Track Eugene 2020, powered by the JN Group. Now we're going into our lightning round. We're going to be talking about women.
Yes.
All right. So,
exciting.
Are you happy with the general preparations and form of Jamaica's athletes heading into the championship?
Generally, yes. I think they are primed to perform very well in Eugene. I think coming out of the Olympics last year, we got a glimpse of what. Because one of the big questions coming out of the Olympics last year was whether or not our women especially could top what we saw in Tokyo last year, which in itself was significant. The big answer is yes. And that's what is why I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it now. Because when you think about the fact that we could have 3 women under 10-7 in the 100 meters final, and we have possibly 4 women in the final as well because Kemba Nelson is there and ready to represent well, you have to understand that these women have taken their craft to a whole new level. We mentioned the 400-meter hurdles earlier, where we have 3 women in the top 8 in the world. And our fastest this year is not even there.
Yeah,
because
and Dream 9
fell at the national championships. We have the woman, I think every single member of this team, Johan Blake, who's been at his best for the last 10 years. We have a new crop of sprinters in Akeem Blake and Oblique Seville who could do spectacular things. I think our athletes are primed to do exceptionally well. I mean, notwithstanding what we see from Karsten Varhoven and of course Alison Dos Santos and Rai Benjamin, but I think Kemar Mott and Jahil Hyde are going to probably be at their very best that we probably see from them in this year and probably in their careers. So there's a lot to look forward to in terms of how prepared our athletes are, and that's testament again to the coaching staff and the teams that they have, the respective teams that they have around them, because I think barring anything unforeseen in terms of injury or just unfortunate circumstances, I think we're primed to see probably some of our best performances at our global championships this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that our athletes, they're resilient, and I think it's just a part of our culture, a part of our nature. We are a resilient set of people. It's what we thrive on as a nation. And our athletes take that to the track. They even take it on the football field, even when they're not doing well. But we can look at the reggae girls recently. Many thought it would be a very tough group. They maybe would struggle to come out of it. Back-to-back World Cup. So again, it's just second nature to Jamaicans to rise above everything. And I think that for a nation of 3 million people, we're gonna done them.
All right. So who do you both expect to pull biggest surprise from a Jamaican perspective, 1, and 2, which athlete can shock the world with an unscripted performance in Eugene?
I think we had the discussion about that specifically, just before. And for me, I don't know if it would be like a shock the world because she would have won before, but then it's the hurdles, so you never know what can happen. She shocked the world back in 2015, Danielle Williams, when she won at the World Championships. She has not had the best outings since. She's not having the best outing at the moment in terms of how the rest of the field is doing in terms of performances and time. However, it's the hurdles. You get these rounds together. You never know. I'm not saying she's going to, but And like I said, it wouldn't maybe be like a major surprise, but it would be a surprise when you stack her against the field this season and even last season, and these ladies coming over. Megan Tapper would have gotten bronze last year. Brittany Anderson, spectacular form last year, this season as well, did not get on the podium. So like I said, for me, it would maybe be Danielle Williams, but athlete that can maybe shock the world. Overall, from a Jamaican, is it a Jamaican or overall?
Jamaica.
Whoa. I don't know. Because we're good like that. So we're not, everything we do shock the world. You see, if we got 1, 2, 3 last year with the women.
Right.
If we get 1, 2, 3 again, we're going to shock the world. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was a very difficult question.
It is, right? Yes.
There is so much expectation on a lot of the athletes, and I think most of them will probably deliver on those expectations. The thing is, I think the person who would most likely shock the world is probably one of the oldest members of this team, and I mentioned it earlier. In 2011, when Usain Bolt actually first started in Daegu, a young 21-year-old kid, a couple of years out of high school, became the youngest world champion in Daegu. And then he became the second fastest man of all time, 9:69 and 19.26, and then injury played his part. And for the last decade, Johan Blake has been the butt of so many jokes and so many condescending remarks. And what I've seen from him this year, I mean, just thinking about it makes me emotional. For him to rise again a decade later, and based on what I'm hearing going into these championships, of course, after the 985 and the national championships, that was a relatively sloppy race when you look at it.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't his best.
And I'm thinking, can Johan Blake run 9.7 again and perhaps end up on top of the podium? Yeah. I think that would shock the world. And I think it would be deserved.
Yeah, it would be deserving for him. With everything that he would have been through.
Full circle.
Yeah, I mean, many Jamaicans write him off. You have those who are fans who clearly riding the train with him. You're still around, may I cheer for you, I want you to do well. But I'm sure he's aware of it, we are all aware of it. Maybe the world, why are you still going? What are you looking to accomplish? And like Leighton said, if he's to get on top of the podium, well, for me, the fact that he's still competing and he's to get to the final, that's a win for me because I know the struggle of what it is.
In the early 1990s, I think it was like 1991. No, it was later than that. It was after the Barcelona Olympics. Irina Privalova suffered a similar injury. She was one of the fastest women in the world. I remember in 92, she was across 11, Merlin Nancy and Gail Vivas and Juliette Cuthbert and Gwen Torrance in that bang-up finish where Merlin finished 15, 10, 88. She tore a similar injury to Johan Blake, and she had to go to the 400-meter hurdle. She could not come back to the sprints any at all. Yeah. What Johan Blake is doing or has been doing for these last, since 2014, 2015 because he was out for the entire 2014, is nothing short of
determination. Yeah.
A testament to the steel in him. That because many people I know would have probably quit already, especially with his own home crowd. Pretty much writing him off and saying, good no more. You need to retire. Somebody just said it to me just earlier this year. Why doesn't he retire?
Yeah, I saw it on social media when we were giving him credit. He ran at a meet, he ran 10:01. Yeah. And I spoke about how well he looked. It wasn't even the time for me. Because I believe time can come as a result of so many things. But it was how he looked. I was like, you can see, and people don't understand it. They get this level of confidence when they see that, okay, I'm getting better and better, I'm getting better and better. And I think his level of confidence lifted since last season and so much more this season. So I think he has a very good team around him. Michael Frater, Gregory Little, I think it's such a good, small group, but very good, and it's suiting him clearly.
Right. Then let's look at Elaine Thompson-Herah's legacy. Do you think it will be soiled somewhat if she fails to win gold in Eugene, considering she is still hunting for her first gold medal, individual gold, at the World Championships?
Let me go first.
Go ahead.
No. That's all. I'm not going to elaborate. No need to.
I take a slightly different position. I mean, generally I agree with what Kishana is saying.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of caveats to that. One, what she's already done, she's already in the conversation of one of the greatest sprinters of all time, okay? No woman has ever run legally 10.5 before, right? And everybody knows my position on the world record.
Yeah.
The world record should not have been a world record. So in my mind, and in the minds of many track and field pundits across the world, that 10.54 in Oregon on August 21st last year is the world record. That said, we live in an era now where the World Championships carry a lot of weight in terms of your resume. Shelley Fraser-Price has 4 100-meter world titles and 1 200-meter title. She has 2 Olympic titles, and the first woman and the only woman in history to win a medal in 4 consecutive Olympic Games in the 100 meters. For me, she's the greatest female sprinter, period. I don't care what anybody says. For me, her resume speaks for itself. However, when you look at what Elaine has done, because what people don't understand is that it's not just about getting up and running. In 2015, she ran the second fastest time that year.
In the 200 meters.
Losing to
Daphne
Skippers
Skippers.
in a classic, epic 200-meter final. In the 100 final, she had some stomach issues in 2017. She doesn't speak about it, but I spoke to the team doctor. I spoke to all of the people around her. Marie-Jose Tolu spoke at it at a post-race press conference. He threw up like 13 times before the 100-meter finals. In 2019, 2 years later, we all know about that Achilles-related injury that literally she was unable to walk virtually weeks before going into that championships. So that she was able to finish 4th is again, and in 1093 I think it was that she ran.
Yeah.
It's credit, it's to her credit. However, when you look back at history doesn't look back at those reasons. They look back at what you managed to accomplish. So I think she does need to medal in the 100 and in the 200. If she wins, it adds to her legacy, but I don't think if she does not win, I don't think it hurts her legacy that much, because then she would have been on the podium coming back from a year when she did things that many people thought was impossible, 21:53 and 10:61, breaking the Olympic record. And of course, winning 3 gold medals at the Olympic Games last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think her legacy is set. She can only add to it now, but I don't think it significantly hurts her in any way if she doesn't win a gold medal in Oregon.
So no, it doesn't.
With that said, how do you see the women's 100-meter race playing out?
I've been thinking about it for the last few weeks, and I've not been able to come up with a definitive answer.
Oh, you want like who we think gonna come 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's going to be one of the hardest questions for any pundit to answer. On form.
Who I think? I don't know.
Yeah.
What I do know is Jamaica will come 1, 2, 3.
That we know. That we know.
And guess what? Guess what I care about? Jamaica coming 1, 2, 3. Right? But
To pick a winner is going to be very difficult.
our women are just doing so good.
Yeah, on form, Shelley Fraser-Price probably will go in as a favorite. 1067, 1067, 1070. Says that she's in form of her life. And now that she's tapering,
She's running fast. She's the best sprinter technically
Yeah,
at the
technically,
moment.
right?
The best,
So
yes.
you're looking at 10, possibly 10.5s, okay? Shericka Jackson is the best combination sprinter currently active. She's now surpassed Shawnee Miller-Weaver. 10.76, 21.55, and 49.47 makes her the 4th fastest or 4th best combination sprinter in history. But the 3 women above her all have asterisks next to their name. Marita Koch from East Germany, Flo Jo from the United States, and of course Marianne Jones. We all know their histories. So technically, Shericka is the best combination sprinter in history for me right now, because the other 3 have issues. So what we know is that we saw her run 10.77 at national championships after a protracted delay. And we heard from our coach that had it not been for the delay,
She would have gone
Should have
faster.
gone 10.6 something. Elaine Thompson here is the only one of those three who has run 10.5. And she's run 10.6 4 times, similar to Shelly and Fraser Price. If all three go in, and based on what I've been hearing as well, is that Elaine is ready. So if all three go in at their very best, it's anybody's race.
It's Jamaica 1, 2, 3.
But it's the Jamaica 1, 2, 3.
And that's what we want.
So that's the
Right?
best I can offer.
I would be so disappointed if someone came and spoiled our party.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I would be too.
I would be come Sunday night, I would be so I'm like, why did you come to our party first of all and ruin it? No, I'm kidding, but I think that the coaches, like you said, we have to give credit to the coaches.
Yeah,
the turner coming out of the pandemic, training up in 2020, thinking that there would have been the Olympic Games, only to be told no Olympic Games. For coaches to have athletes back off, reprogram, refocus, come back mentally strong. People don't understand that part of the game. And be like, you're in the prime, like you're zoning in. Everything is ready. You're told no Olympic Games, we're pushing it back to 2021. The ladies, the men, they fast forward, they came last year, they delivered. The turnaround time between then, national championships, world championships, heading back into training, back into another world championships, bam, 2024 is the Olympic Games. We have to give credit, not just to our women coaches, or in general, coaches, getting these athletes to stay focused and hitting the projections that are necessary to see the 10-6 that we're seeing. Yeah.
And it also is testament again to the talent, because as Ben Johnson said to me a long time ago, 50 years ago, you can't give a jackass steroids and make you run fast. Similarly, if you don't have the talent, the coaches don't have what to pull out of you.
The package is a package, and we have the package.
And for Jamaica to have 3 of the fastest women in history doing the things that they're doing now is just absolutely remarkable.
You think it's the water or the yam?
It's probably both.
Okay. They keep asking. They keep asking. Yeah.
All right, this is On Track Eugene 2022, powered by the JN Group, and we are now going to shift our discussion over to the men's side of the business. And I want to start by looking, we have mentioned Johan Blake, but let's look at Oblique Seville and Akeem Blake. They have reignited interest in Jamaica's male sprinting. We look at Conroy Jones and his improvements, and we all feel a little better about the men's sprints event. So, what do you expect from the men in Eugene?
Can I start this time? Because I was a skeptic.
You were?
No, I was a skeptic after Bolt retired in 2017. I was a skeptic about how quickly could Jamaica's men recover and get back, into becoming contenders again. Because one of the feelings that I have sometimes is that I use historical trends to determine, where our athletes are going to be in a couple of years' time. And using the current trend in Jamaica's athletics, between 1952, when Jamaica won its last Olympic gold medal with the Marketability crew, Jamaica didn't win an Olympic gold medal again until 1976. Okay, so that's 24 years.
24.
And then after Quarry, it was Usain Bolt. That's almost another 24 years. So I thought we'd have to wait a little bit to see the emergence of new blood. And because I've always felt that they could always make his way back. It's just that I think he needed to overcome some obstacles, and we're just waiting for that to happen. However, because we've seen so many athletes come through champs and they don't make the transition for many reasons. But to see Oblique Seville, when I saw my champs, was it 2019? Yeah. This little man with this ridiculous cadence, and he had no muscle on him. So I thought,
just running.
If somebody got him and put a little muscle on him and trained him, we could see something special. I didn't hold up much hope because we've seen it happen before with so many different athletes. But to see him last year at the Olympics, I know a lot of people were disappointed, yes, because we only count medals, but I saw a lot in him. So to see him emerge this year, but the 986 that I saw earlier in May, and I'm like, 986 in May? I never expected that. And then now, to see him come to the national championships, yes, he lost to Blake 988 still, but you see the beginnings of what could potentially be another superior athlete, notwithstanding his little size. I think he's capable of 9-7 at these championships, and if he does, he'll probably end up on the podium. Akeem Blake, out of nowhere, Merlinati High. I didn't know that there was a school called Merlinati High. I'm not kidding you. So to see him emerge now, and it's a testament again to what the work going on at Titans International.
They can change the name to Titans Resurrection.
Yeah, yeah, because they're resurrecting careers.
Yeah.
But to see him now come and emerge, 992 was disqualified. But 995 national championships, and what was it, 993 in the finals?
In the finals. Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a step away, I think. I think next year we'll probably see the best of him because, as you know, because of the pandemic, we have 4 championships back to back. I think for him, triumph for me is getting to the final in Oregon. But I think we'll probably see the best of Akeem Blake in Budapest next year and going into Paris. I think by then we'll see the fullness of Oblique Seville and Akeem Blake as Jamaica's premier sprinters and could be premier world sprinters as well.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Leighton made mention of. But for me in sports, I have patience. I have all the time in the world once I know that work is being done, because you can't have patience without knowing what's happening. And I think that, maybe because of our line of business, it allows you to know what's going on. You're more privy to a lot of things. Now to see Oblique Seville coming through, when he did extremely well last year, before getting to the World Championship, to the Olympics, I was like, all right, when I saw him at the National Championships, I was like, all right, this is looking good. He got the job done, looking good. Got me excited. Now watching himself, Akeem Blake, who I had the privilege of interviewing. Thank you. It's just how the patience that is needed because the work is being done. And I know Jamaicans, they're spoiled on success and gold medals. That sometimes it clouds our judgment as to the long-term objectives. And as a nation, we must have long-term objectives. And one of the long-term objectives I have, for me, this is how I view track and field now. Let you know it's a little bit of my secret. So when Usain Bolt was competing, Asafa Powell, Nestor Carter, Michael Frater, while I was of course ecstatic about the moment and what the men were providing, but I was so nervous because the youngsters that I was looking for, they weren't stepping up as expected. So I knew we would have had that drought, and Leighton made mention of the drought we would have experienced. Right. Now, when you look at Johan Blake doing extremely well, Kemar Bailey Cole I was really impressed with his latter part of this season and him making the team. Now, when you look at the age group, you have to look at the age group and how they're coming through, and you compare that to the Americans and the rest of the world. I'm excited. Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake, Conroy Jones, all those personal bests kept coming and coming every time he ran. I like Nigel Ellis, Julian Fort. I think if he can get over those injuries, I think that age is still a little bit in his favor as well. Along with the seniors, we are heading in the direction. I think for the next couple of years.
Conrad is 20.
Yeah.
Akeem Blake is 20. Oblique Seville is
21. Yeah. So I think Nigel Ellis, I think maybe 23, no?
23 or
24 thereabouts.
The thing is,
yeah.
There's a young crop of youngsters, and because Jelani Walker as well.
As well is there,
There's a nice crop of athletes now who have emerged.
Yeah.
Especially this season.
And you have to look at that. You have to, yeah.
You're looking at the future looks bright from where we're sitting right
But Jamaicans, again, like I said, them not have the patience. Right. But may have all of the patience for the rest of Jamaicans. Trishana have all the patience. Why do I have the patience? I have to pay attention. So when after 2024, my focus now shift from Oblique and others. Not to say it's shift. I just want to see who are the others looking to come through. How promising are they? Because you can't just look for the no, and Jamaicans look for the no. And if you check it, all right, Elaine Thompson, she just turned 30. June month end. Shelley and Fraser Price will be 36, sorry. Jesus Christ! I'm sorry. Shelley and Fraser Price will turn 36 years old December 27, right? So those are two of our senior women. Sharika Jackson, 28 years old. So those are three of our top women doing well. All right, now let's move the goalpost. Shelley said she's going until 2024, which is Paris. Those three women will maybe remain dominant, right. Hopefully, we love that. But we have to now start looking at the youngsters who will come through. And it can't be just that many are thinking of the Clayton twins. They have to go through the transition phase. Maybe they will turn out of it quicker than we expect. But again, that's how you pay attention to what's up. You have to pay attention. And when you see that, it now gauges your patience and your expectations as a nation. Yeah.
Right. So as we're talking about the men, what does success look like for the male sprinters?
In Eugene?
Yes.
I think we have the potential to have at least one person on the podium for the 100. Yeah. I think that the 100-meter hurdle, 110-meter hurdles, I think, are Olympic champion. We have a strong group of athletes. I just tell you about the depth of Jamaica in the sprint hurdles. Last year at the Olympics, we had Ronald Levy and we had Damian Thomas, along with the gold medalist Hans Pashman. Levy's out with surgery. Damian Thomas had an off-season. Form wasn't that great, even though he didn't perform very badly at national championships. But in Oregon, we will have Orlando Bennett and we will have Rashid Broadbell. The hurdles is one of those minefield races where anything can happen. So I think Hans Pashman for me is a medalist, possibly gold medalist as well. But I would be surprised to see like a Rashid Broadbell break through and probably end up on the podium as well. For the relays, I think our 4x1 squad is good enough for a silver medal. I think the Americans are just on paper the Americans are too fast all around.
Unless they drop the baton, I will get the goal.
Yeah.
There I said it.
And I think despite the fact that none of our men, and Chishana and I are similarly disappointed about the fact that none of our men are consistently 44-second runners in the 400.
Oh, do not go there.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I think there's enough quality there for them to pick up a medal in the 4x4 race.
Yeah.
So that's my thinking for the men. I want to see Navaski Anderson run in the 800 meter. I don't think he's going to medal, but I think
could lower the time.
I want to see him lower the national record and get it into the 144 range. So I think our men will do well. I think one of the things that kind of blinded us in the years past, in recent past, is that Usain Bolt dominated so much of the space for the Jamaican men that we didn't realize that he was just one of a few who were winning gold medals. Right? It was Omar McLeod, and there was one other person. Oh,
we had Banji, Frederick Dakers, Odain Richards in the shot put.
Yeah, and long jumper
Tajay Gale
at the World Championships in 2019. So now I think we're seeing where the prospects for men are gradually increasing in a positive, improving in a positive direction. And I think the men will do well. Even if those that won't medal, I think will also do well. But I think there are prospects for about 4 or 5 individual medals for our men in Ireland.
The men will provide their own flair. Compared to what we have seen, like since the departure of Usain Bolt, we can't mention him enough. Asafa Powell, Michael Frater now coaching, Nesta Carter, they were so good. Oh, they were so good. Yeah, since their departure, I think that we will now see excitement from the men, which is promising of what is to come 2023 and beyond.
2025,
so everything, like I said, will be so back to back. So we have to keep being patient with the men, cheer them on, be critical if necessary. Like I said, even for those that did not make this team, Taekwondo Tracy, we're full of them, go on with themselves, man. We don't have nothing to worry about with the men yet. If them do not know, I can say, whoa, yeah. But I think that the important thing for me with the men, I want to see a number of them getting into the finals. Yep. That's very important for me. For me, it's not about the podium finish. You can get a medal in the semifinals. So I want to see our men getting into the final of their respective events. If they're to get into the final, Oh my God, that would be like heavenly for me with our men performances.
I support that comment entirely. I think, as I said before, we tend to focus a lot on medals and not understand that there's a progression to be had before you become a world champion or a world beater or a medalist. So for many of the guys coming through now, getting to the final for me is a big first step.
Yeah.
That first step tells you that you're among the best in the world.
Yep.
And then it's time for you to make the next step.
And that's something people don't understand as well. When you get into the final, it's an added taste of success. Like, it's like a chef kiss.
Yeah.
You know, like when you make that good steamed fish, then it hit. That's what success does in sports. Yeah, you get a taste of it from that. You get to the final. Woo! Next year, you're like, yeah, man, me gotta take off, man. And that's the thing with men.
Give me an example of how that works. In 2019, Megan Tapper, who had struggled for years to break through at the senior ranks, got to the final and then she fell on the first hurdle.
Devastated.
She was devastated. She came back, she didn't quit, but she understood that she had the quality to be in a final. She goes to the Olympic final next year, and I'm sure many Jamaicans didn't see her on the podium.
No.
But if you
well, they didn't see her winning at the national championships either. See? But that's what a taste of success does. Chef kiss.
And I said to her that I believe that she could do it.
Yeah.
Right? At 12:53, she ran her best times in the semi-final and the final. Let's just tell you what kind of. And so, because about the earlier question you mentioned, she could also surprise in Oregon as well. I mean, 12:6 at the national championships might not look like a time that's within that window between 12:2 and 12:4 that you might need to get to. But before that 12:60, that pair of 12:6s at the national championships, they were struggling all year with some physical issues and just running well.
Yeah.
But she tends to bring her mentality to these occasions, and who knows, so keeping for fingers crossed.
Well, thank you very much, Leighton and Shoshana, for your predictions. I think we pinned down most of the key things.
We're going to go on with
Medals,
yourself.
Predictions, top 3, sweep.
That's the important thing for the Jamaicans. Come Sunday night,
Sweep.
oh Lord, they care about nothing else. I think after that, they're going to say, who are going to run next? You know how we are. It's just the reality of it. Right?
Yeah, man. There's a possibility of 2 medals in the 200 for women too.
Yeah, so it's a sweep.
But to show you, they don't care about you see, if we don't get the sweep, I'm telling you, you know how Jamaicans are, and I love that about us. Come Sunday night at 9:50 p.m.
Yeah.
And we're not 1, 2, 3 in the women's 100. Oh my God. It's like, because they're anticipating based on the performances of our women, like myself.
Right.
Like I said, if anybody used to come and spoil our part, I'm like, who invited you? But no. And I love that for us. Like I said, as a nation of 3 million people.
It's a standard.
Yeah, we punch up our athletes. Let me be specific. Which camera must I be looking into? Our athletes, they punch above their weight, and that of the administrations in the country. But continue.
Well, let's go a little deeper, because since we're talking about medals and outcomes,
Yeah.
right, who are the Jamaicans that you really expect to do well? That you almost can guarantee certainty that these people are going to do well.
The women, okay, let me be specific. I'm really hoping that Elaine's Achilles doesn't flare up. She deserves a really spectacular world championship. And that's whether she's winning or not. I just think that she's deserving of it based on that 2020 form that we saw, and despite her changing camps. Our athletes don our national colors to bring us all these excitement. You must want to see them at their best. So let me start off on the women's side. Shanika Ricketts, hopefully Daniel Thomas Dodd can put a good series together as well and get to the final. I would love if Kimberly Williams can get into the final as well for the triple jump, but I'm going with Shanika Ricketts, Daniel Thomas Dodd in the field events. Now, for the women on track, too many to call. We're going to need a whole different show for that. Shelley Elaine, Sharika Jackson, Candice McLeod, Cherokee Young, she did extremely well this season. She has gone 50 seconds. Stephanie Ann McPherson, we saw how disappointed she was last year at the Olympic Games. She's hungry, for a final and a medal. She was 4th. Now, when you finish 4th at a major championships, you question everything for life, What did I not do right to miss that bronze? So Stephanie Ann McPherson as well. on the track. Who else is there? The 800 women, I know Natoya Gould always want to put on a show and get as close to maybe medal potential, if that's possible for her. I'm excited about Chris and Gordon Powell in that event in the 800 as well. So like I said, I just expect the women. Now on the men, we can't talk about the women, or we're going to need a whole show.
Let me just add.
To the women, yeah.
Lamar Distin, NCAA indoor champion,
High
NCAA
jump.
outdoor champion, a two-time national record. She said she broke a national record indoors and outdoors this past season, 1 meter 97. The world is at 201, which is about 4 centimeters away. I think if she doesn't have too much work in her legs from the collegiate season,
Yeah.
I think if she pulls off something like 199 to 2 meters, which I think is very possible because we've seen her just miss on those heights during the NCAA season, she could end up with Jamaica's first
Medal in the high jump.
medalist in the high jump. So I'm looking forward to see her as well. And I think, given the fact winning is a habit, and she's only lost once this year to Tara Gittins.
So she has the mentality.
Yeah, she's lost once to Tara Gittins from Trinidad and Tobago, who used to be at Texas A&M, where she transferred to Texas last season. So and that was 195 to 193. So you're looking at a possibility at Lamar Distin, if she can add another 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters, who knows? She might create her own history then.
Yeah.
And the men who are to perform well,
Yeah.
the 3 men in the 100. I think the men in the hurdles, all three, I think
Sprint hurdles.
all three could actually get to the sprint hurdles final.
Yeah.
I hope Wayne Pinnock can get over 8 meters. He's at 801 this year, I think. So if he can get over something like 810,
Yeah.
regardless of where he finishes, I'd be happy for him.
Yeah.
That's among the men.
For the
And of
men?
course, that's individually, of course. As we spoke about the relays already.
Yeah.
I think we can do well in both.
I'm
relays.
hoping. I don't see him getting on the podium, Frederick Dakers. But if he can put the series and get into the final, that would really
And
top
Travis
off his
as well.
season. And Travis
Yeah,
Michael.
Travis is national champion.
Champion,
This is
right.
Travis's best year, overcoming injury and all different other challenges
Yeah.
that he's faced. I would just love to see both of them in the final.
Final, yeah. That would be a win for me.
Yeah.
That would be like both getting tied for gold. And if the men's 4x1 and 4x4 relay team gets medal, the men's 4x1 and 4x4 gets medal. That would be.
Yeah, I think the 4x1 men
Should get
should get at least a
all
silver.
being well.
The 4x4 men kind of dice, but I think bronze is very possible.
Yeah.
And the mixed relay is not quite sure where that is because I don't know what the rest of the world is doing right now because
Yeah.
I don't think many teams.
I mean, it's all over the place.
so,
Yeah. But
you know. But I'd like to see.
all our delegation is going to show
Yeah,
out.
and I'd like to see, honestly, I'd like to see Kimar Mott and Jahil Hyde. I know I've been very critical of Jahil Hyde, and as good as gone record as saying I thought he chose the wrong event. I thought he should have stuck with the sprint hurdles because I thought he was, in my mind, he was better at it. But he's unfortunately chosen an event that has moved a step further, where 47 will get you on the podium, but it won't get you a win.
Yeah.
You know,
Because 45 seconds is now the new thing.
Varholm has stopped taking it down to a brand new level.
Yeah.
We've seen Alison Dos Santos take it to 46.80. He's the fastest in the world this year. And of course, Ryan Benjamin at 47.02 tells you that you're going to have to be a lot better. But getting to the final, I think, will probably give them the impetus to be even better in future games. You know, so
Yeah.
that for me would be great as well.
My final question is about legacy, and it has to do with Hansel Parchment. So if Hansel were to get a gold medal, where would that stack up?
He'd be Jamaica's greatest sprint hurdler. He would surpass Omar McLeod.
Yes, he would.
Omar McLeod right now is unquestionably Jamaica's best sprint hurdler. Olympic champion, world indoor champion, national record holder 1290. That in itself is
Solidified his
a
legacy.
significant accomplishment. It compares to anybody in the world, anywhere. Okay. But Hansel is an Olympic champion. He's a world championship
Silver medalist.
Olympic
Yeah.
bronze medalist. If he wins here, that for me puts him ahead of Omar McLeod because then he would now have 2 global titles, Olympic and world titles, as well as 2 additional medals.
Yeah.
In
Silver and bronze
silver
from
and
the
bronze.
Olympics and the World Championships.
So he would probably be, for me right now, Jamaica's best ever sprint hurdler. I mean, it would be close. It's not like he would suddenly go there, but it would be like that. But he still have the edge, because I think Omar McLeod, unfortunately, after his 2017 victory in London, has kind of fallen off the pathway a little bit. Not making the 2 last teams when he's one of the best hurdlers in the world, not to make a national team 2 years in a row, kind of changed his legacy a little bit. And I think in those 2 years, Hans Parchment has gone from being injury prone to being one of the best hurdlers in the world. And I think
he's gotten consistent with him.
That consistency puts him ahead of McLeod for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to speak on behalf of the ladies. The man is a big deal. And the woman who follows his career, we're just glad Sema win and we want him to keep winning.
He's a really nice guy.
Ladies, we agree with that as well.
Hans Parchment, look, I've interviewed athletes all across the world. Some of the best athletes, from Justin Gatlin, Usain Bolt. No, I haven't done Felix yet, but I've done. But one of the things I like about him, that he doesn't have any ears. When you speak to him, you get is the same person that's off camera as the same person on camera. He's really cool. He doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He's just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to talk to him.
He's as cool as where he's from, Morant Bay. He is as cool as he is.
You take pleasure in interviewing such athletes.
He's easy to talk to. He's very easy to talk to. He's likable.
And he's fun.
And he loves the sport. Like, naturally loves it. Legacy for Hansel. Yeah. I think, like I said, I agree with Leighton. He would surpassed Omar McLeod, but he would definitely, leave his footprint if he's to be atop of the podium in that 110-meter hurdle spin. Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. Sports analyst Leighton Levy and media practitioner and track and field insider Shoshana McGowan were with us on Track Eugene 2022, powered by the Jane Group. My name is Kevin Clark. Thank you for joining us, and this is a wrap.